And welcome to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
I'm Kathy.
And we have a bunch of people. I had some bunch of people probably watching us new or listening to us new because we had a huge following just come through. We want to thank Reaper Miniatures for that huge raid we had into Kathy's stream on Friday. Was it Friday? Yep, Friday. It was much appreciated. We appreciate it a lot.
Good close to the week.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. I met some new people, so yeah.
That's always good.
It was very fun.
Yeah. Welcome to episode, Kathy?
96.
Yes. I actually looked this one up this time. Episode 96, we're going to talk about like our top picks of board games, miniature games, role-playing games, stuff we're going to be looking forward to, so on and so forth, on the stream today. Because there are a few games that I wanted to talk about and highlight, and the future of, and how things are going.
It's good that you want to talk about and highlight games in particular, because I am completely unprepared.
Yeah. Well, the thing is Kathy, you can talk to us about Zombicide and what they're coming out with, because you know all of that shit, right?
No.
Don't worry, Kathy. I'm totally prepared for both of us.
Excellent.
But
I just painted minis.
So, before we do that, we need to go ahead and get through all of our sponsors and welcomers and anybody that listens to us, guys. Everybody that listens to us, either live or on any of the channels that we're on, we appreciate it so much. We thank you so much for this. For our Patreon subscribers, you keep the lights on. If you want to help us on that, the rewards will be changing a little bit coming up, based on a few things, to get some better rewards for people. So pay attention to that. But y'all keep everything running so we don't have to dig into our own pockets every month. It's very much appreciated. We want to thank our sponsors, Muse on Minis, for hosting us and putting us on their network and giving us some stuff to give away every so often. Also, we want to thank Tectonic Crest Studios. Dan, you're the man, for giving us things to give away, and we will have some things to give away probably on the next podcast for him. And last but not least, Mechanica Studios. They host all of our stuff that we sell. If you play War Machine and Hordes, or any of those type of games, we do have tournament packets and widgets and dice and zones and all this other cool stuff that all comes and directly helps the podcast. So if you get the notion, go and check it out. Look at our stuff. Buy it. Tell us what you think. We appreciate it.
And thanks for the cheers, Xander Baylord.
Oh, yay.
Yay!
So we really appreciate everything, guys. We try to give y'all a good show, do some funny things, act a little stupid. You know.
A lot stupid.
A lot stupid is more like it.
Stupid.
But, John, we do have some tributes to give today that we need to give, right?
I know of one.
I didn't know of another. That's the reason why I was wondering.
Yeah, not another that I know of, but the one is Robert Forrester, who many of you won't know. His biggest modern role people would know would be Jackie Brown. Mm-hmm. He played Max Cherry the Bail's bondsman. But he is one of those guys who's been around in Hollywood for years and years and years and been in a ton of movies, has a ton of stories, and is just, by all accounts, a great guy. All his interviews are, very interesting to live and hear him talk about. He's got some great stories posted on YouTube and on other various things out there. I remember, of course, from The Black Hole, where he played Captain Dan Holland.
Yep.
Yes, I remember names from The Black Hole. Don't judge me.
Well,
but wasn't that like one of your favorite shows growing up?
It is one of my favorite movies still, yes.
Well, what's interesting is I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, who? And I was like, you probably wouldn't know him because, you're really young. But this, when you see his face, you're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, exactly. That guy,
I just did that because I just Googled him.
Yeah. And he even said in one of his interviews that he was glad Quentin Tarantino gave him a chance. He had actually interviewed for a bunch of Quentin Tarantino stuff, read for a lot of it, and, basically Tarantino finally got him in a movie with Jackie Brown, and he got an Academy Award nomination for his role. He also liked it because he got back to being a good guy. He got cast in the Delta Force when that came out as a, well, Middle Eastern terrorist, and he put us all into the role. He's put more depth into that character than probably ever needed to be in that, in a Muslim terrorist in a schlocky, Israeli-made action movie from the freaking 80s. But, he's always put his all into the roles. He's been just in a ton of little stuff. And I've enjoyed him every time I've seen him on the screen. One of those guys brings a smile to your face if you know who he is.
Yeah, you've most likely seen him. And like I said, if you Google, you'll go, oh, that guy. Yeah. I know that dude. So, with that, Kathy, what you drinking today?
Tea.
No rum?
Also, gin and tonic.
John, what are you drinking today?
Well, I have a Jim Beam Red Stag mixed with Dr. Pepper, and then I'm going to start off with a shot of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple.
Mine is, I'm taking a little bit left of my Imperial Grind Coffee Stout from Mother's, which is an amazing coffee beer if you like coffee. And
Thanks, I love coffee and beer.
And then about a shot and a half of Evan Williams. I wanted to get down today. So for all of our friends, everybody out there that listens, everybody that participates, everybody that doesn't participate but hits that little meter to show that you're listening, we appreciate it. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Was
Did I say y'all like a southerner?
y'all.
That's really tasty.
What is it again?
Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple. It is Jack Daniel's whiskey blended with apple liqueur.
Apples.
It's on the whiskey side of that sort of thing. A little less, I don't know, less appley than something like a Jim Beam apple or something like that.
Best
But
served
still
with
very
ice cream.
Someone want to bring
Whiskey
me
a la mode.
I'll take some ice cream now and some whiskey, and I'll go to town, and I will be fucked up real quick. Ain't gonna lie.
So
I didn't say a whiskey float.
Whiskey float. I like where your head's at. That's next level. You're actually supposed to put some alcohol in root beer floats. Apparently, is part of the official recipe.
Xander says ew, but
Don't knock
I
it
don't
till
really
you try it.
care, Xander. I am approaching that with an open mind.
Come on, dairy and alcohol. This has got to end well, right?
always.
Yeah,
It does with Bailey's.
fair.
I don't really care,
Oh,
Wait, what's happening?
my iPad decided to turn on the volume.
Beatty Hunt says car bombs. Xander says, do not your father's root beer with the ice cream that didn't. We're not talking about not your father's root beer, though.
We're just talking like a float and then putting whatever liquor we want in it.
Yeah, it's more like you put root beer in, and then you put in, I forget what the official recipe's for, whether it's whiskey or something else, but you put some of that in too, just to give it a little something, something.
Something.
A little something, something.
That's true.
So,
Today's episode, guys, we wanted to talk about our top picks of board games, miniature games, blah, 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 that we want to play.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yep, I put the blah, blah, blahs.
Use your words.
That was blah, 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 blah is my word.
Gonzo, you are a poet laureate.
Yes, I am. Because it is coming into the year. A lot of things are happening within the gaming industry. And I needed to give my 2 cents about a couple of games.
Wait, it's only October. It's the end of the year. Don't
Coming
say that
the
to
end
me.
of the year.
I mean, technically speaking, the end of the year, it's quarter 4.
Yep, it's fourth quarter.
We're a month into quarter 4, for Christ's sakes. Month and a half.
Well, that's not the end of my year.
All right, soon to be the end of your year, Kathy. Soon.
You know, my birthday's at the end of this month. I'm just throwing that out there.
All right, so for Cassie's birthday, everybody's gonna like sing and dance for her, and send her some wild flowers. How about that? Is that okay, Kathy?
Okay.
All right, she said, you can send them to.
Yeah, you make people feel old. I feel that way every day at work. Young people, I can't. I was talking to somebody. They were born in 1983. I'm like, shut up,
What?
fetus. Just shut up. I can't. I'm a manager. I'm not allowed to turn and call other
Like,
coworkers.
how is it that you even
Fetuses.
know how to talk yet?
Yeah, exactly. Go crawl back in your mommy's womb. Just get out of here, kid. Or like 83. That's cute because I was born prior to 83. By the way.
Yeah,
We know.
you're old.
Captain Mizzy found a recipe for root beer floats with vodka and coconut ice cream. I mean, coconut ice cream on its own sounds delicious.
I mean, I'll try it.
Yeah,
Not sure coconut ice cream sounds great to me, but I would definitely give that a shot.
I kind of feel like it should be in a pina colada sort of a drink, though.
I mean, if you like pina coladas.
Pina coladas.
And getting caught in the rain.
You knew that was going to happen.
Why? Not really a big fan of the taste of champagne either.
Tander goes, why, John? Why?
Because you can't pop those up. I got to spike them. I'm pop
hilarious.
culture reference king. That's what I do. I do it at work, and people look at me like I'm stupid. Sidebar to get on something else. My boss was sitting with one of my coworkers, helping her do invoices, and he was talking about the Star War. Now he knows better. He's just teasing, and I jokingly talked to him back about the Star Treks. And our coworker thought they were the same thing.
You know,
I can't make this up. She didn't realize, and I'm just like, I'm just not gonna.
Not gonna
So
go
we
there.
keep talking about the Star War and the Star Treks because it's funny. And she
as
knows.
a kid, I called it Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
That's something else entirely.
I didn't know that Trek was a word, and also I couldn't read yet because I was that young when I started watching Star Trek.
I mean, fair enough. Well, I mean, she did say, aren't all those star things related? I'm like, oh, yeah, Battle Beyond the Stars, totally part of that. Dancing with the Stars, A Star is Born, those are all the same thing.
They are.
All the same
All right,
cinematic universe.
Dancing with the Star War, that's where it's at.
Dancing with
That's the Star
the
War.
Stars Trek.
There you go. Please, let's get to the topic before we derail even further.
What? We derail stuff? No.
I'm not sure we're on the rails in this particular case, but let's get on the rails.
We never
Let's
did
down the
get
road.
on the rails.
All right. So the year is coming to a close. I wanted to talk about certain board game miniature games and our top picks or things that we think that you should look into or things that we just really like a lot. And maybe some old favorites that we're still playing if we still want to keep playing them next year. And I want to put a shout out to War Machine and Hordes. I still like War Machine and Hordes. I still think it's a good game. My big issue right now is I don't have time. John and I have had this conversation before and we've had it plenty of times on the podcast that War Machine and Hordes is a competitive nature game.
It's the most time-intensive game, and not just playing the game. It can be an all-inclusive hobby from the mental aspect to the painting to the playing. It can be a total thing together.
Correct.
And that's a great strength and a terrible weakness.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. To me, there is nothing wrong with the game. Being a competitive player, I don't have time to be a competitive player like I was before. One, because the gaming convention, and two, I just don't have the time. I will always go to every single time I can to go to a tournament and play because I like the tournament scene. I agree with you, John. I'm burpy too. And have a good time with my friends and hang out and play a good competitive game. But I don't have the time mentally to decompose all the aspects of every list out there to figure out something's going on. So I started just going, I think I'm just going to play what I think is going to be fun and competitive, but I'm not going to go so deep into it going, oh my God, there's a 0.03% chance I need to put this model in because they're going to give me a 0.1% chance of being better at this matchup. And that's what I've kind of done this last year, since the last convention. Is just kind of take it back a little notch, and I still love it. They got some great models coming out. I don't know if y'all guys saw the new releases coming out, but they have some really cool stuff coming out and everything. And I still think it's still one of my top picks. One, because the community is amazing. Two, I love the company. I love all the people that are in it. They're a lot of good friends of mine. They do a lot of cool things. They're upping their game. Perfect Press is, we've got. And I say this with a little smidge. We've got all the smaller games, which I love, Riot Quest and Mompoc. It's a lot of fun. But next year we have Warcaster coming out. Cautiously optimistic. This is one of my top ones that I'm looking forward to. But
is it a board game?
It is not. It is their science fiction miniature game coming out. We don't know a lot about it. We don't know what size it's going to be played on, the terrain, none of that.
We have no details.
Yeah, really, there's
Okay.
none. But it is their science fiction miniature game.
Yeah, it's their entry. I would say right now War Machine's an interesting place because with the CID on hiatus, actually makes it a little less time intensive. There's one less step to worry about, which is pretty good. CID has not been met with everyone with open arms. There's Lost Hemisphere shared it also, but one of my locals, Jonas Blackbane, posted on his blog a very scathing review and a true review from his point of view. Of that and what they can do to get better, and they're trying. I'm glad they're still trying stuff. I just I don't know if I'm interested in Warcaster. I mean, Private Press hasn't really showed it to me in a while. I'm interested to see what it is, but to be fair, I'm expecting meh, so I can just be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, like I said, and we don't know anything yet. We just know that it's going to be their
Yeah.
sci-fi
Well,
version.
yeah.
So we can't really say anything, but it is one to look forward to in the in the next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm sure it's going to come out during Lock and Load. Is probably what I have a feeling what's going to happen.
Terrible time for a
Well,
game
that
to
makes
come out.
sense,
It's
but-
terrible.
Yeah,
What time of year is Lock and Load?
the summer.
The middle of the summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe it'll come out at Adepticon.
Adepticon is actually the best time to come out because
You know what that is? They're having a big War Mahords War
Mhm.
Machine tournament there.
Yeah.
This coming year.
We will hold off on that discussion right now, Kathy.
Um,
Let's not go there yet, okay? Let's not go there. We're not going to talk about the ATC.
shut up.
Not talking about the ATC right now.
I'm good.
I wasn't going to. I was
Okay.
just mentioning
No,
it.
you're
I don't know
right.
anything about it.
Yeah.
As you can all, if you know me, I don't know shit about War Mahords.
But
Anyways, I wanted to say that Banion says I have more fun playing smaller, more intense games and playing a couple in the time it takes for one full War Mahords game. And that's how I feel, and that's why I decided to play Warcry.
indeed, that's
Because those games are all like under an hour, it seems like, and less models. I have 8 models to paint for that.
yeah.
So I'm good with that, and that's kind of my thing. I don't want a 2-hour game that turns into a 4-hour game because I like to talk between turns.
Well, I don't necessarily mind that, honestly, but it's different for that. But I mean, I'm interested to see what Warcaster brings. Like I said, expecting kind of meh, but we'll see if it's good. They're not going to put out a bad game. I mean, let's be honest. For all their faults, they don't put out bad games.
No. That's what I'm saying. We just don't know anything, but it is something on the horizon for us to look at.
I just really hope they put it out earlier because Adepticon is such a better time because it's in and it's established in time for everyone to play the crap out of it during the summer.
Yeah.
That's when you really get it. And I think it's one of those times where having your own convention will hurt you because you're holding things for it and you miss the opportune time.
We'll have to see. Like I said, we still don't know anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing big, nothing at all. It's just there. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. That's my because there's a lot of other games that we want to talk about, but on
So
our
what
Privateer
else?
Press.
What else do we want to talk about?
I want to talk about something that I really, really want to play, but I can't get anybody local to do it. And John got me into it, and I'm loving. Yeah.
You're so mean, John. What game is this you're talking about?
Throttle Off that John got me into it.
Well, John got me interested in it, and with the new edition, I'm interested. I I haven't had a chance to play, so I don't know, but I have been really looking forward to Malifaux. I've read the rules. I've read the scenarios. I like
Is
what
this a
it's
board game?
No, it's the miniature game.
No, it's not a board game.
No, you will probably not hear me say anything about board games.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
Because, you did say the topic was board games.
With some board games because I know you're a board gamer. But I really want to get some people into it. There's two games I really want to get people into a bit, and one of them is for gameplay, and one of them is for quick, easy, and cool miniatures. And right now, I really think I like what Malifaux's doing. Mm-hmm. I like one. Okay, we all know the miniatures are insane. The miniatures are great.
They're less complicated to put together than they used to be. They're actually they're a little step easier because I've been putting together stuff from different generations, and they go from fuck awful to mildly inconvenient to okay, I can do this.
Yeah, but I like the rules. Everything seems to flow right. I haven't had a chance to play, so I can't give it a full review. But everything that I've liked and I've seen, and that's the reason why I asked John if he can, elaborate more on it. But I like where it's going. I like what they have, and it's a shame that it's not as popular or as big around here because I think it could be.
Yep, it is. To me, it is being a smaller scale. I mean, Knotbrushhead Dave and I have on average 8 to 10 models.
Correct.
In a crew. Occasionally you can summon some more, but we're still looking at, unless you do something crazy like Banyan and his, I brought all the rats in the universe. Because you need to for that crew. You end up with that sort of models.
Yeah.
It plays reasonably quickly. It's pretty well balanced. I mean, we look at the way it works with schemes and strategies, their scenarios. We look at the schemes and we're like, all these are difficult to do, which is good because it means they're all difficult, not, oh, that's a gotta take it if it comes up. They're all difficult. So, scenario play is key with that. It can be played reasonably tight if you want, or a little more. I mean, not everything is loosey-goosey, but it has the potential for tight play, and in all likelihood, in next year, we'll be seeing them put out their first of their... they take scenarios, and they call it Gaining Grounds, and it's their scenario packet for tournaments.
Uh-huh.
And they'll make cards for it you can purchase on DriveThruRPG, or Card Vault, which is part of DriveThruRPG. And there'll be takes on the ones that are already in the book, but a different one, so you get a little more variety. So I'm looking forward to that. I love the way they're putting out models. Some people hate it because they're not putting out single models. You're not going to get a lot of single models unless they're chunky enough to deserve that. You're getting a kit with between 3 and, I think, 5 or 6 models.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like, oh, here is, I forget what the most recent one was, but they did one for the Wastrel keyword where it had 4 models. It had a named character, and then 3 of a particular new minion that came out. So you get that little batch. They get another one coming out for the Gremlins, where it is the named Gremlin Luchador and 3 generic Luchadors. It's like, oh, hey, there's a Gremlin keyword, which I think is called Whizbang, where some of them also cross over into the Foundry keyword for one of the other masters. They're putting all those models in one box. It'll be the Mechanized Pork Chop, which is a Mechano-Pig. Who doesn't love a Mechano-Pig? Sparks, and 3 of the Survivors. And you just get all that stuff there. So you go and I was looking at buying these models separately, and I looked, this is what's coming out. I'm like, no, I'll just get this one box. It's got all the models I need from that keyword to add, and just boom, I'll have a little kit.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a little more expensive, and in some cases you're like, oh, I don't need all those models. Well, maybe you don't, but you won't need to buy anything else. With 3 being the max of almost any model, you'll get whatever the max is in that box, and you're good to go. Yeah. So I like the way they're doing that. I've always said except in the brief period when they were playtesting or third edition, that if I had to play only one miniature game, it would be Malifaux. I mean, I've loved my time. I loved my time back in the day with War Machine and Hordes, but when Mark III started happening, Malifaux just quickly overtook it. It's got everything you want, plays pretty quickly. You're still probably talking with setup and takedown about 2-hour games, or if you're like us and you're learning, it'll be 2-hour games. Or if you're like Dave and you're like, that fucking guy with a spear is right in my face and I don't know what to do about it, we're gonna have a 2-hour game.
I did love Malifaux in first edition when I was playing. And then I got away from it, and then the community at the game store that I was going to just kind of fell apart. And I haven't played since, but it's nice to know that third edition, or Mark III as you call it, is equally as fun, it sounds like.
It is, and they did the rare thing in a game where rather than they just nerfing stuff, they did a lot more of bringing the low stuff up and very little of the taking the big stuff down. You know, a lot of things got tweaked. Many models are bullshit, but there are so many models with bullshit. Everyone's got their own bullshit. So is it really bullshit at that point?
No.
You know, it's like general models generally are thematic, do what they're supposed to, and you're like, this all makes sense. And I haven't seen too many models that I haven't seen almost any models that are completely out of place for their points cost. And very few that I'm like, that's a little weird, maybe.
Does it take some time to get used to what other people are playing and what their models do? I mean, do you have to be familiar, really, with...
If you really wanted to play competitive,
is...
yes, but Dave puts models down, and I generally don't give a shit what they do, and I just go murder them. But that doesn't win me scenarios. The funny thing is, most scenarios, murdering his models don't win. You generally
the objectives.
Yeah, objectives. Well, also they have an app now. Their third edition app is out.
Oh, okay, cool.
It is now. War Room is the barometer for apps. Let's be honest. War Room is great.
Oh yeah.
Once they got the second edition War Room working right, it is the standard. It is not as good as the Malifaux app. For one, there's one giant reason that puts Malifaux app over the top initially.
Printing lists.
It's free.
Oh.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's free. It has pretty much almost the same functionality as the... Actually, I think it does have the same functionality as War Room. You can search for stuff. You can look at all the cards. You can even make your list, play a game, join someone else who's using the app to play a game and look at their cards. That's normally what you'll be looking at.
Yeah.
You'll be looking at what their cards are. And generally, just an overview. I mean, to be honest, most games, if you're not playing fully competitively, you should have gentleman's rules. Where you're going to be like, you don't want to do that because I have this ability that makes that the stupidest move ever. We've done that. Like, you don't want to do that because of this. Like, okay, yeah, I don't want to do that. And that's part of the fun about playing it, with people. But I'm looking forward to what they're doing with it. Looking forward to their gaining grounds for next year. I'm even going to work up another slow grow. They had a cool slow grow, but it was a little random. I'm going to tweak it down and make it better for learning. And then I'm just looking forward to it. Right now, it's my main game. I have not painted, assembled, or... Well, I've only painted one other game's models in the recent history, aside from them. And they're games that doesn't really require them, and we'll talk about them later. But it is my main game, very much so right now, that and Transformers TCG, so...
The other one I wanted to talk about, and it's not even out yet, but it is something that we're all kind of cautiously optimistic about, is, of course, Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, and I want to say this up front. I have never, in my years, seen this much buzz for a game since, say, 3rd edition D&D.
Yes.
That was the last time I felt this buzz, this electricity surrounding a game. And it might be because I'm not in the game store as much anymore and all that, but I just feel the buzz about this game. People are excited for it.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're not even going to, we're not even going to touch on it. We all know that pretty much everybody is excited in one form or another for this game. Be it the miniatures, the game system, the play, the team that's doing it, you name it. We're all kind of excited about that. So I didn't want to push on that too much because
I mean,
We're
all
there.
excited.
Yeah,
No,
we're all.
we should mention it. I mean,
Yeah.
I
just-
have it on its way. It's on its way soon, very soon.
What do you
I
have
will
on your
have
way?
it in my midst. I will be reviewing the models on my stream. I'll be looking at the rule book. We'll do an unboxing on the podcast.
What?
That's legit as
It'll
shit.
be glorious.
No,
Yes,
not our scrawny podcast.
Yes, our tiny mediocre podcast.
You've got Daniel's attention.
Kathy will
I
be
will-
setting up and
I will
doing an
let you
unboxing.
know. Follow our Facebook page for details to be posted in future.
Like what you did there. I like what you did there. Yeah, we're all excited for that, and I like just seeing models the way they're coming out and all. There's another one where they're doing interesting with models. I understand that buying and stores can't necessarily put a lot of single models on a rack, so they're doing a lot of 2-packs to make it worth the space.
Correct.
I was looking at the second wave, if you will, with Black Panther and Killmonger, and then Shuri and the one with the spear whose name escapes me because I've been drinking.
What? You don't drink.
What?
So we all know that we're all optimistic about Marvel Crisis Protocol and what they're bringing. We don't even have to do. I mean, we could do a whole podcast once it comes out, and we'll talk about it and get on it. Kathy will be doing an unboxing, and we'll be looking at the miniatures, and hopefully she'll get permission to paint them on stream.
I
Yeah.
have permission to paint some on
See?
screen.
Boom!
Boom! Dropping the bombs today.
It's interesting because it's gonna be an interesting time for superhero miniature games because Night Models is actually putting out their 3rd edition of the Batman game also.
Yeah, I heard
and
that.
theoretically dropping an actual rule book for the DC Universe version.
Yep.
Because I think they're feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
Because I like their models. I like their metal models. They were good. Their resin models I've only gotten 1 2-pack and it was not good. It was the worst mold lines I've seen in a while. They cleaned up okay, but you're a little worried about that. And then no rulebook is a hell of a thing for a game, right?
Yeah.
We say this about Predator Press as a sort of positive. They're too far ahead of the curve. No physical books is way too far out there. You need physical books. You can't just go off computer. We're not there yet as a culture, as a gaming culture.
But I wanted to tag that because there is something coming up about it. But the one game that I'm actually kind of interested in, and mostly for the miniatures, because they showed their previews of what they're bringing out at Warfare Weekend, and I'm going to be picking up Judgment. I am mostly the games. I'm not a MOBA style game player. We've talked about this numerous times, but the models they have, I'm just like,
Wait,
fuck
what's
yeah.
MOBA again? Hold on. I need to Google this. Every time you say that, I'm like, wait,
Massive
what's MOBA?
online battle, something with an A, arena.
Arena, yeah.
Multiplayer online. Wait, a tabletop game can't be an online game, so that kind of confuses me just right off the bat.
It's the style of it.
It's a style the way it's played. But they have some models that I am pretty interested about getting, especially the new Death Knight model they got coming out. Definitely want to look into that because
they're scale, right? They're like 54 millimeter or something like that.
yeah, they're large.
larger. They're beautiful models,
Oh,
though.
yeah.
I've been watching the progress of Nestor Medina at Nessie Knows
Nestor.
as he's working on them.
Nestor's a good dude.
He'll be at Warfare Weekend, by the way. I get to finally meet him.
Make me feel bad for missing it. I mean, not
He's
really.
awesome.
I get to finally meet him. But that's one of my ones that I'm cautiously looking forward to. I wouldn't say cautiously. I'm going to get a lot of them for the miniatures, but also want to kind of play it, introduce some of my locals to it, because going back to what someone's comment was, the quicker, faster multi-games a night is really taking a hold of a lot of people.
Yep.
And that's good and bad, if you want to say. And I wouldn't say it's bad, but I mean it's good because I like smaller game sizes.
So,
I like smaller models.
If I had a Saturday
Well,
afternoon and I could just leisurely play a game and, eat some lunch in between and stuff, then that's one thing. But if I'm at the game store and I only have a few hours before it closes, I just want to get a couple of games in if I can.
I mean, I say it's bad because there's nothing like the view of one of those large-scale Warhammer, or sorry, I guess Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40K games. There's nothing like one of those just fully set out. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, they're a blast, but they are a little more time intensive. So,
They are.
yeah, I'm defending them. That's weird. I'm not terribly interested in Judgment myself, but they do have cool models. I actually am looking forward to Armada, because Armada is putting out their first new ships in a while. They just dropped their new campaign box. Let me twist out of frame. Rebellion in the Rim, which should shock you that I have in my hands. Really shouldn't shock you. Being as it's the only other game I've painted models for, and you don't really need to paint models for it.
Nope.
But I'm looking forward to that. It's a cool campaign. Another way to play it. And they've got, like I said, 2 new ships coming out, 2 new big ships, new, never seen before, even in the movies or anything. So it's cool. And then next year they have Clone Wars coming out for it. 2020 is going to be a big Armada year. And I'm looking forward to it. I like it. It is one of the better Starship battle games out there. Plays reasonably quick, reasonably balanced, very strategy or very scenario focused. So looking forward to everything that brings. New factions will be good. Hard to have a game with 2 factions. People get bored.
Yep.
But 4 factions is where it's at. 3, I think you can really get a game. 4 is where you really get it. So they'll have 4 factions, and looking forward to that to hit and get some more games of that in.
Going across about that, I had my first few games of X-Wing recently. I picked up a starter and got some ones, and I had fun with it. I don't know if I would get like all in and go crazy and do tournaments and all that stuff, or just go, hey, you want a bunch of just get some guys together, have a few beers, let's blow each other's ships up? Yep, I'm all for that.
Speaking of flying games, we just got the Aeronautica.
Uh-huh.
So looking forward to assembling those in plastic instead of resin. And so I haven't actually had a chance to look at the sprues yet, but I am looking forward to it. I really liked Aeronautica back in the day, and I am told that the rules didn't really change much since then.
So just a bunch of new models, or better models?
New models and hex bases. Yeah, the models are just a slightly larger scale. So I am looking forward to playing that with Jim, and we just have to arm wrestle to see who is Imperial and who's Orcs.
I think he'll pass up the Orcs for you, right?
Yeah, but my old ones are Imperial.
Now
I guess I should let him paint up some Imperial Navy, I guess. Also, it would be awesome to paint up Orcs. Also, Bad Moons.
Yep. Bad Moons all the way.
Yeah, interesting. I haven't seen any of that played. There's been some of it on Twitter. The people I follow painting some of the models. They look great. But I haven't heard a lot about it one way or the other. So interesting to hear. I think it is strange that this late in the game that GW's dropping, Aeronautica. I mean, there are people who will buy whatever they put out. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see things challenging X-Wing for that sort of scale of game. Yep. I think Battlestar Galactica came out way too late to really have it.
Yeah. I saw
the models are great. I mean, they look great. They're on par with the current tier of X-Wing models.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, day late and a dollar short, and I've heard the game is not terribly balanced.
Yeah,
it's more scenario-driven, less actual... I mean, I like scenario-driven, but not having easy pickup games is a problem.
Yeah. John, did you have any sleeper hits this year?
Sleeper hits that came out this year?
Yeah. Any miniature games that you're like, oh, and then try it, and you're like, hey, this is actually pretty decent.
Nah.
No?
I didn't try any new games this year.
Oh. I did try a new game. And that was right after Adepticon, because thanks for Adepticon having awesome VIG swag. And I've said it before, the Song of Ice and Fire miniature game. It was my sleeper hit of the year. I was very hesitant when I heard it was coming out because, well, anything based off of a TV show usually sucks. And
It's
so...
not based off a TV show. It's based off a book series.
based off of a TV
Yeah.
show.
I
But...
mean, it's called A Song of Ice and Fire. It's based off the books. So
Yeah. It is.
It is based off the books.
It is based on the book more than it is the TV show.
Not that you couldn't paint your models like the TV show.
But it was my sleeper hit of the year because it's actually pretty dang good as a miniatures game. It's got some good things to it. I'm really surprised how well it is. The rules wise, the gameplay, few minor things I don't like. I wish there was more terrain on the board, but I understand why they have so little amount of terrain.
Yeah. That's
But
one.
yeah, that
Makes and the worst feature about it is it makes it look, and I hate to say it this bluntly, like shit at the game store.
yes. That's the reason why I printed out the 3D terrain because it made it look a whole lot better.
Yeah, 2D terrain just does not. I mean, I understand 2D terrain is very good for certain things, and having like hills 2D obviously is awesome, and having the outline of the forest with the trees in it is great, but just 2D terrain looks terrible, unfortunately.
But for me, it was really, really. It was a sleeper hit because I was like, oh, okay, cool miniatures, blah, blah, blah. And then I tried it out and I was like, holy damn, this is really cool and really a lot of fun. But I know a lot of people won't give it credit because it is, come on, and it is...
I'm not calling them that.
No, yeah, they're come on. They're no longer involved with actual miniatures. Not counting game pieces.
Wow.
And I know a lot of people will give them crap because of that and crap about some other things, but it's actually a really good game. I was really surprised how good it was. Miniatures are solid. They look good. They stand up. They're not quick and they don't break as easy. You don't have to do anything to them. You barely have to put them together, if anything. So, I mean, they're all there. But I was just like, I was very shocked at how good the game is. Coming from Simon and coming from a previous IP. Because we never, usually don't ever
they look pretty good. They don't look like board game pieces.
No.
Despite the fact they're no assembly required pretty much.
Yeah, there's none.
They're a good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unlike, I hate to say it, the God tier models are looking less and less impressive to me.
Yeah.
I haven't
Sorry,
seen...
you gotta get... Part of the reason I didn't look at Song of Fire and Ice, A, because I don't have a horse in that race, and B, because I want more of an overall strategy with them, like to assemble models.
Yeah.
But, like, the God tier and by extension, the, what's that other game? The not football one.
Blood Bowl?
No,
not-
Guild
Red
Ball.
Ball?
Guild Ball.
Guild Ball, yeah. I just don't...
They watch me list all of the games that are like Blood Bowl.
I just don't like the models. They're not bad models, but they're like board game pieces.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it's
you know,
funny because the metal ones are mainly such a giant pain in the ass to put together for Guild Ball.
Oh, yeah,
I
they
like
were.
the game.
Guild Ball models were pretty cool.
I
but
really
the
like the game.
electric one they just went 360 degrees the other way. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? It's 180 degrees. Let's not be drunk speaking.
It's
But yeah,
fun.
so other games looking forward to. I'm actually, I'm kind of looking forward to Warhammer Underworld. See what they keep putting out, even if not just for the game, for the models that come out because they're just cool models.
They are some fun models, yeah.
And I love how they make them usable in the other game. I mean, Kill Team the same thing. I'm hoping they put more stuff out for it, but it's really gotten kind of bloated.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what they do with sort of their reboot by putting out a new starter set for it.
Well, what's interesting is they have all these games where, small miniature board games, and they had Kill Team, and then Necromunda, and it's like, here it is, guys, and it's gone.
Well, see, now, I understand that with plastic box sets, because after a certain point, a new print run isn't really worth it.
Correct.
Because you get more money by selling the rulebook and stuff separately.
Yes.
So they want to do it. They want to get the excitement. Then they want to do it. That's fine. That's business. Interesting that they reprinted it, though. It means that they actually had enough people asking for it. They felt like they needed to. But remember, Kill Team gave us those great Rogue Trado models, including Star Striders and the Gullerpox that you've been painting for. You painted for a while, Kathy.
Yep.
I mean, I'm looking forward to another box like that. Like, I want GW to take their game up and put another box out like that. Or the Blackstone Fortress stuff has been really cool. Those are sort of my ideas of board games I want to see. They're very miniature-centric because I'm a miniature-centric person. But the board games with actual models that look cool. I want to see what they keep doing for Blackstone and maybe Kill Team if they put any more cool specific models out. Because they can do that. Like, here's a little Kill Team. It makes its own, force organization chart in 40K in case you want to play it. Boom, go. Have some fun. I think that is probably the way forward, sort of like the Nightvolt, Shadespire. Yeah, Underworlds. Warbands, if it wasn't all Chaos, I think people would be more interested, but people were turned off by the Chaos only of it. And I know you can play other factions, but...
Oh, not Warcry, just the Warbands in, it's Underworld, right? Where they have the Warbands?
Yeah, the Warbands. Yeah, for Underworld, yeah. That's really cool. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with that. I'm not sure I'm going to play it. I mean, I have Shadespire and Nightvolt sitting on my shelf over here, and Bane and I played once and not since, but we have a lot of games fighting for our attention.
Yeah.
Like all miniature gamers?
I mean, we played card games the last several times we played games, so...
Give me Spires, yeah. Everybody wants the Spires.
I have no interest in Necromunda, which is terrible for me to say from a game I loved so much back in the day. I think they shit the bed with the release. It's a rare time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, Great Big Slug. I should have known you were lurking.
Oh, yeah.
We all need Ogre Warbands.
But
Kathy, go ahead, Gonzo.
I was going to say, if you notice that the last few things that we've been talking about are smaller board games and smaller miniature games, that there is a big resurgence of smaller games. Don't get me wrong, 40K and Age of Sigmar are always going to be big and top and the games that are going to draw the people. But recently, things come out like Breachstorm. Breachstorm is still a small tabletop style game and stuff. So I mean, there's still that going on. That a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about are smaller style, smaller size miniature games.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great full topic for a thing is how, what the preponderance of the market is, because I am looking at what's coming out and stuff that gets, if you get above the actual skirmish level, you start to have a problem until you get to the army level. There's no in between anymore. For a while there, War Machine Hordes, the in between everyone liked, no one really wants to go that many miles anymore. They want to scale it back.
Yeah.
Probably because costs. I mean, it's a lot of cost to that size. It's a weird cost to game ratio there.
Yeah. Which is interesting because, like I said, the last few things we've talked about has been smaller size games, which is the reason why a lot of people are pretty interested in Marvel Crisis Protocol. Only need 10 miniatures. That's it.
Yep, you're only going to ever use 10 miniatures. And you're not going to use them all, but you only need 10 in your list.
Yeah, and of course you're going to buy more because
you need all the miniatures so that you can field whichever combination of 10 you feel like.
No, you could find just the 10 you want to play. You could be like, I only like these 10 models. I will bring these 10. And then hopefully you can parlay those 10 into really good choices.
But don't you have scenarios where you can, pick so many different models and add them in?
You're never going to have more than 10. So
but depending on which scenario...
Yeah, you're going to cap at 10, though. You're going to be like, we're playing X points. I have to pick those X points from the 10 we bring. So you'll never have more than 10. You can make your overall 10 out of more than the 10 if you buy more. And we're all going to buy more, let's be honest. Unless
we totally are.
Like certain things. But you'll never need to bring more than 10.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's a good level of game. I actually am looking forward to playing some other games and picking up some other games, but they're all Robotech based mostly because that's the kind of geek I am. There's a company, for the first time in 20-some years, there's a new company putting out a Robotech role-playing game because Palladium Books did lose the license, if you haven't heard.
Uh-huh.
And there's a new company putting it out. I'm interested to see what that is. I did like the Robotech role-playing game. That was the first role-playing game I actually played for any significant period of time. So that is definitely part of my childhood there, but interested. I do love Robotech. And then also, they have a ton of board games coming out. I mean, I've got 2 over here on my shelf from a Kickstarter, and then there's another one that came out I didn't get a chance. I want to pick that up and give it a shot. I think it's called Force of Arms or one of those. I have Crisis Point and another one, but interested to see what's coming out for them, because they're making a big push on their IP, which means hopefully that movie's in the works too. But that's something in there. Otherwise, yeah, Banian picked up Shadowrun 6. I'm interested in playing some of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm jealous. I want to play. I loved Shadowrun back in the day, in the 90s. We used to play, and so much fun.
Would have been hard to play before the 90s, but...
Well, I mean, you're right. I can't argue that, but that's when I was playing.
And then I'm actually looking forward to the BattleTech stuff from Clan Invasion that's coming out, because maybe I play some BattleTech, maybe I don't. But in any case, it's cool that they got that stuff coming out. I did back them on Kickstarter because I'm a geek like that, and that's part of my childhood. I did, when Necromiles was down, I did buy the BattleTech basic box set because that's part of my childhood. I need to sometimes you need to review that stuff and maybe rediscover your love for it.
I know that a friend of mine, Nick, which he's my go-to guy if I need any mathing, because he's a supercomputer unto himself. He is helping and working on, that I know of, the new Heavy Gear miniature rewrite of rules.
Interesting.
And he's actually part of that, and he was telling me about it, and I'm like, that's cool. When you get stuff, bring it over. Let's test it out. Let's work on it. Let's do what we need to do. Let's, get all in it. Because, I mean, I like Robotech style and, that type of style of game. Small robot squad battles. All for it. Battletech, Robotech, whatever you want to call. Mech Warrior. Heavy Gear is a little bit different, but still the same concept of squad battling robots.
Giant robots beating each other up.
Yeah. I'm all for it. So he says as soon as he can and get stuff going and he gets the models, we're going to, work on that and do some of that. And I'm like, that sounds like a lot of fun, because I'm all about, I think there is a part of the market that hasn't been touched as well is squad-based or low model counts good sci-fi games. Which is where I think they may go with Warcaster.
Team's kind of totally blowing it out of the water.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Kill Team is totally killing it.
Yeah.
Unintended. So, I mean, I think that's not... I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that's necessarily a fair statement.
But But the thing is that's based off of a current IP. I'm talking about, a new or interesting type thing. It's not... It's not a game unto itself, like Breachstorm is a small base sci-fi type game. Whether, it goes off and hits really well, I hope it does, because, I want everybody to be successful. But, I mean, there hasn't been, a huge push for a lot of that in the market, is the sci-fi small.
To be fair, I mean, you're kind of discounting Infinity.
Okay, let's talk about Infinity for a second. I love Infinity. I think it is a great game. It's not very big around in this area. Like, St. Louis is the closest place for people to play Infinity, and of course that's like 6 hours away, and they have a good following there.
Yeah.
And I hate that because I have a huge Toho force and I love Infinity. But we go back to our old argument. If you can't get people to play it, you're just stuck with models.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I have a ton of Infinity models. I like Infinity, but it's another one. It's got that War Machine problem of taking so much to get into it.
Yeah.
It's not so the time, it's the reps and getting into the game that is the problem.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what's going to hurt a lot of games, or sink or swim for a lot of games. People forget to keep it simple, stupid. That is a rule for a reason.
Xander brings up a good thing. Sci-fi is a difficult ideal to put people into. And that's true. A lot of people would rather do the fantasy than the sci-fi because they can wrap their brain around it a lot easier and not worry about it. And I get that.
and we did kind of skip the big sci-fi miniature board game or miniature game. We haven't mentioned it at all.
Well, because we really don't need to.
I mean, Legion's got a lot of stuff coming out. They've got 2 factions dropping this month,
Yeah.
theoretically. China willing.
Star Wars Legion, I'm still enjoying that when I can get a game in. I haven't been able to play lately, but
I
still
enjoy
like it.
more than Infinity.
To me, it's a lot simpler. It's quick. You don't have to do so much digging through the rules. You're like, okay, your models they shoot and kill things. Good. My models do the same thing.
What they're doing, they they keep it simple.
Yeah.
And as much as I know some people have mentioned they don't like some of the functions, like the movement tools, the more I think about those movement tools are the tightest thing ever.
Well, because that's what
and
Marvel's
her-
doing. Marvel
Yeah.
Protocol's
Little
doing the same
range
thing.
things and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I
Yeah.
also love that the Marvel ones they have a texture on them, so if you paint them, they look really cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
More I thought about it, the more I go, I like those because those are. There's no question. I put the front here, I move the model, and put the back to the front of that stick. It's where it goes. That's,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really liked that when I played Legion.
It's one of those things. You're like, it's way easier. You don't have any. There's no inconsistency in that.
Yeah, there's not an argument on
Did you make
measurement.
it far? Was that a little bit too far?
Yeah, you don't have to know inches and all that stuff. You just measure it, and there it is.
As everyone can tell, I have the crazy eyes, and when I look at things across the board, sometimes things look too short or too far, and I literally have to take my opponent's word on it, or I have to lean over the table really hard and eyeball it, and I'll be like, okay, I guess that's fine. But sometimes, you're just taking their word. I mean, crazy eyes. It's hard to see depth like that. Across the table, things look really odd sometimes, but yeah, so they got stuff coming out, but I think they've lost the wow factor now. It's like it's old hand now, right?
Yeah. I think the movement stick thing and going away from tape measures, I think we might see that a bit more.
Yeah,
Because it's just quick and simple and easy.
right. Where it's back to back. I mean, the way the War Machine guys use it is cool, but measuring sticks, all the ones that are made are too wide. I feel like they'd be better off as sort of like old whippy sticks. That's what I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about.
The set that Muse sells. Muse sells this one set that has all the widgets on this little plastic sheet. Can't remember the call of it, but the measuring sticks, because they go from like 3 to 14, are like half an inch wide.
You don't need a 14.
Well, there is a 14 for certain things, but what most people use the 14 for is for marking out zones for deployment.
I will be honest. It's one of the things about War Machine that's weird is the amount of tokens. And other games have similar amounts of tokens, but it's just the preponderance. But in any case, that's not part of the topic. The last one I bring up is actually I'm looking forward to a role-playing game called Prowlers and Paragons, their Ultimate Edition. I did back that on Kickstarter.
Is this a superhero game?
Yep.
What? John's interested in a superhero role-playing game? Jeez, is it my favorite fucking thing that I never ever get to play?
Banyan.
No, I'm not blaming him. Jesus, I only get you a superhero game. That's not his thing.
People who work Renaissance festivals.
But at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking forward to. I did back it on Kickstarter. One of my old buddies and former GMs, Mike Sherbrooke, worked on it. And you support your buddies in doing stuff, and it looked good. And a lot of the guys who put together Champions say, honestly, if we made Champions today, we'd steal shit from this game. It seems to be Champions can be too fucking crunchy. Let's be honest, way too crunchy.
No, not Champions.
Yes, it can be too crunchy. I find the other end of the superhero games to be way too free and lackluster, not as granular as you'd want. Too soft, if you will. So this is supposed to be a good middle ground. I'm looking forward to getting it. I've got the old edition, but I kind of want to get the new. I've got the old edition in PDF. I'm looking forward to get the new one when that comes out, and we'll probably switch over Adventures Sewer Bear or whatever we play next to that, and looking forward to that.
What? Sewer Bear's going to make a return?
Theoretically.
I think a lot of people would enjoy that.
It might not be Sewer Bear. We'll see. I mean, sometimes you just let the campaigns just end at a point. I mean, it's not an end point. Sometimes they just have to end.
So that could be like Dawn of the Harbinger.
Well, you sounds like you got an end point in mind.
Yeah, I did have an end point in mind.
I don't build games with an end point. I build sandboxes, and sometimes they just end. It happens.
Yeah, I did build it with an end in mind,
which is good. I mean, it's different. We can talk about that in more role-playing podcasts. There's different styles of GMing.
That would be cool to hear you guys talk about that.
Yeah,
Since I haven't ever ran a game.
What? How long have you been doing this, Kathy?
Yeah.
Do you know when I ran my first game?
10.
When did you run your first game?
1983.
The year most people were born that are listening to this podcast right now.
Oh, go fuck yourself, Gonzo. Banyan was 6. Thanks, you, Banyan. I'm going downstairs and I'm pee on your bed. My drink was slightly aggressive. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know of any new RPGs coming out, so I didn't even think about that because
they sort of sneak up on you if it's not a new edition game. They just sort of, hey, look, this dropped. Well, that looks cool. You wait for the buzz to come out, and that's sort of the way it is. And same thing with board games. There's so many board games coming out. If you don't know about it, if it's not like a new edition, you're like waiting for the buzz to hit you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Oh, Captain Mizzy, that's painful. Thanks.
What'd she say?
Thanks.
I can't see.
She's -9 in 1983 when I ran my first game.
That's no excuse for not running a game being 9.
-9. -9.
Oh, negative. No, negative. Okay, gotcha. Well, maybe that is an excuse. But 6 is not.
Yeah, I mean,
like I wanted to talk though because I have not yet run a game, so.
But yeah, my first game running was actually Robotech way back in the day for some of my friends in elementary school. So I was 9. Any case, that's some of the games we're looking forward to, the ones we can think of, the main ones. I'm sure more will come out during the year that we want to look into. And if you guys have ones you want to hear us talk about, shoot us a message. Let us know, like, hey, this is coming out. I think it's interesting. Maybe you guys can take a look at it. I have a fair amount of disposable income. I don't mind taking a look at a game. I also always have someone I can play with a game. I just have to pull them out of the basement.
You're
eyeballing. Get that work.
Eyeballing somebody.
I'm not eyeballing anyone.
So, what time is it? Well, yeah. Dang, we went 3 minutes over. What the hell's wrong with us?
It's time for the media segment.
Let's go to media section. Kathy.
All the things.
Kathy has like 17 things she's going to talk about.
And they're all of them, episodes of Lucifer.
Okay, then that's true in that case.
Great Big Slug is going into full-on lurker mode.
Thanks for joining us, Great Big Slug.
Thanks, Great Big Slug.
I look forward to seeing you and your Dark Souls.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 things to talk about.
That's low for you.
Five technically, but one of them's just we were talking about it, and we were just wanted to get a grasp on some stuff.
I have a movie and something else I want to talk about.
Okay, I'll go because I have more, and I'll get with on. Let's go with we're gonna hit off 2 things. This last Friday, of course, was time for our kids to watch movies at the end of the day, and I put on the Dark Crystal Rise of Resistance.
Age of Resistance.
Or Age of Resistance, excuse me. And it was an interesting. I showed it a little bit to my 4th graders. And my 4th graders are pretty mature 4th graders, and they were loving it. I sat down and talked to my 3rd and 2nd graders and said, these are puppets. I want you to tell me what you think. And they were like, this is too creepy. This is too scary. I don't like this. And I'm like, okay, fair. My 4th graders think it's amazing and want to watch the rest of it. So that was just kind of the thing, because me and you had talked about how the Dark Crystal can be kind of a scary show for kids.
It can be. I mean, it's not like it's not strictly for kids. They did a great job.
It's not for kids.
No.
I mean, it's not the Muppet Show.
No, but I mean that's what we mentioned. So figured I'd give you a thing. So instead,
in Dark Crystal, that could be amusing.
Yeah. So instead, we went with Meet the Robinsons. Meet the Robinsons is a show about a kid that invents time travel and has to fix the things in his past to fix the future and make sure the future stays the way it is.
Wasn't that a movie originally? Wasn't there one movie for that, or am I
There's
thinking
one
of
movie.
something else?
No, it's just a
Okay.
movie. And so I put it on. Kids loved it. I was watching it, and there's some stuff that in there that's definitely not for kids. Which, you know, as an adult, you start seeing things, and you're like,
Go watch Looney Tunes.
yeah. You're just like, yeah, I'm laughing at this, but these kids don't know why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was okay. I was actually building up lessons for the next week because that's the time I do it. While the kids are watching there, I can start adding lessons to my Google Classrooms and stuff. But the kids seem to enjoy it. I don't really care for it, so I don't want to give it a rating because it's just there. The kids were entertained, didn't care
All the
for it.
reviews that I heard from it way back when it came out, because there was a time when I was actually watching that stuff and all, was swing and a miss.
Yeah, it was just okay. I mean, it's all right. So your kids will probably love it more than you will. How about that?
Fair enough.
If
I
you
don't
have kids.
Also, I have to kid is Banian, and he takes care of himself, so
Yeah. Well, sometimes he does.
yeah, mostly.
So.
So my movie was, I was sitting alone, I guess last Sunday or last Saturday, and I'm like, I want to watch a movie. I kind of want to see this based on the previews. It's got Dave Bautista, it's got Stallone in it, they got a couple Chinese guys, and they got to break into a prison and break people out. This sounds like one of those direct-to-video gems. That's not going to be a great movie, but it's going to be enjoyable as crap. It is called Escape Plan: The Extractors. It is a third movie. And I was totally fucking wrong. It is not good. I mean, it has about 4 action scenes in it. And so I will say there's an action scene early on where there's 2 early on action scenes. Both are pretty short, where the 2 kung fu guys individually, or Chinese guys individually, are kung fuing the crap out of people that have some good scenes. The first one's really short and it's okay. The second one's a little longer, a little more enjoyable. I liked it. And then after that, man, you could turn the movie off. I hate to say it that bluntly, but Dave Bautista doesn't really do much. He shows up in about 6 scenes, gets, 2 sort of fight scenes. One's really short where he's just firing dragon's breath rounds out of a shotgun. You can tell they're like, Dave, we want you to come in, but we can't pay you a lot. He's like, yeah, well, I do what I want. Sure, Dave, you do what you want. And he came in and did that, had 1 fight scene that was okay. And then the one Chinese guy, the first one gets killed with so one's a bodyguard of a woman who's the daughter of a big businessman. And she gets kidnapped on his watch, of course, because that businessman was funding the bad guy's father, who was in business with Sylvester Stallone. Note, this is the 3rd movie in a series. It doesn't have a number next to it. You don't need to see other movies because I can't imagine they're any good. The first one is the Stallone Schwarzenegger one, where Stallone's an architect in a prison and gets stuck there. But basically, the girl gets kidnapped, and then he also kidnaps Stallone's woman, and they come after him. The one Chinese guy is her bodyguard. The other one is her ex-bodyguard, who's also her lover, which is why he's not his bodyguard anymore, because he got fired because that's not good for a bodyguard. There's a whole movie about that. Check it out. It's okay. And the one just gets killed with no fanfare. Like, he basically, all he does is fuck up and get shot. I thought it was one of those ones where he's like wearing a vest, no one can tell he's got this weird, cool tech, low-key tech that made him live through that, and now he's going to come up and free everyone. No, he was just fucking dead. I was like, that's okay. Now, the other guy actually gets to kick some ass. He's probably the best part of the movie, hands down. He has a couple good fight scenes, does some interesting stuff, enjoyed what he had to bring to the movie, but that's pretty much the only enjoyment you're going to find. And watch an hour and almost 40-minute movie for 2 fight scenes? Don't do it. Just don't do it. Stallone tries. Stallone's bringing a decent game to this movie, but he's just not in it much. He's not giving it a lot. It's not a good movie. Just fucking skip it. I give it like 3.5 space herpes. It's not like bad. It's just fucking uninteresting. Like there are a million better shitty action movies to watch that you will get much more enjoyment out of. You will not be in danger of falling asleep during because it's got so many slow parts. It's watch on Amazon Prime for free bad. It's not the worst movie I saw this year. It's just not a good action movie. It is below the curve. And I mean, I'm fairly forgiving to action movies. I gave The Last Stand with Arnold Schwarzenegger 2.5 space herpes for Christ's sakes, and that's not a great movie, but it's a passable action movie. This is not passable. Just fucking don't watch it. Just watch another action movie. There's got to be a better one. I can recommend 10 to you. So 3.5. No, just no. Don't. I don't hate it, but it's just not. The preview was so good. I watched the preview. I'm like, this looks like it's gonna be good, and it's like, no, it's not.
It's ass.
I did watch another movie during the week, but I can't talk about it because I saved that for the podcast because I've been going through the Fast and Furious series, and I'm finally done again.
All right, Kathy,
Go.
What? You have something. Go for it.
So, Jim and I have been watching Lucifer. We started 2 weeks ago. We watched the first 2 seasons, finished the last episode of the second season a couple nights ago, and kind of a candy show for us, kind of a dessert show, but it's got us giggling all the time, and I'm like, it seems so very it was reminding me of The Sandman when I first watched it, and of course then there was a reason why. But yeah, they get Abanian says that's because Lucifer was cast so well, and he really was. He does an amazing job of just doing all the things that you would think he would be doing. All the facial expressions, all the emotions that he conveys. I mean, he just does it really well. Captain Mizzy says, I binged the crap out of that show. I loved it. But yeah, Jim and I are just like looking at each other giggling the whole time.
Now, I watched it back when it came out on Fox, the first season. And I watched it and it says, oh, this is pretty good. But then in the back of my head, I was saying, this is Fox. It's pretty decent. It's going to get canceled.
Like every show I like, that's the curse. But I was amazed that Fringe lasts more than 2 episodes.
Same with me. I loved Fringe. Fringe was awesome. I loved Fringe. But
I was like, this is so weird and strange and fun. This cannot last. It will be like Firefly. But no.
it lasted pretty decent.
And looking forward to the 3rd season and the 4th season. I didn't realize there was a 4th season.
The final season.
And I saw that they have a 5th season in the works too, so that'll be cool. 5th and final, I think.
Yeah, they already said they've said it as there's a finale coming up.
I'm glad that they have an end to it already. That it's going to be an end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to get a chance to get an end to a series with some time.
Instead of just bam canceled and you're just left going, what the fuck?
This is that one that Gonzo hated from 2 weeks ago.
What was the one?
I don't remember. I'm drunk.
I don't know. I agree, Banyan. Fringe was great until it jumped the shark. Yeah, I liked the first couple seasons of Fringe, and then it started losing me.
So Lucifer's also interesting is that there are rumors that he is going to be part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover on the CW.
Oh, really?
There's rumors.
That would be cool.
I've seen it a couple times on various social medias and all, and I'm like, that'd be interesting. I love what they're doing with that, and I love it when I love crossovers like that. It's super cool.
But no, I liked it when it first came out. I watched the first season. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Fuck it, Fox. Damn it. And of course, as soon as it came out, there was a ton of Christian groups trying to get it taken off the air because of blah, blah, blah reasons. And I was like, no, this is kind of actually good. so on and so forth. And then second season came out, and they says, "Oh, we're gonna do another," and then it canceled, and then Netflix picked it up. And Netflix is doing the one last season, and then they're gonna let it die. So I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, honestly, I think that Christian groups need to go fuck themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it's like they tried they tried to get Netflix to cancel Good Omens. Good try.
Oh God, I love Good Omens.
Well,
I loved it, and to watch that, and then
I love
we
that they tried to
watched
get-
The Good Place, and then we watched Lucifer, which is a perfect little,
Diddy.
I love that they tried to get the wrong streaming service to cancel something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant.
Actually, I have one more thing to talk about. Shit, I just remembered it.
Oh, talk about that.
I'm going to interrupt you, Gonzo, before you go on yours.
Okay, well, let me go. I will do a double feature. As we all know, it is the season of Halloween. And so I watched Hocus Pocus and The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, I know Nightmare Before Christmas is really, kind of, it's still Halloween
movie. It's a
Yeah.
Halloween Christmas
Yeah.
Halloween.
Halloween is
kinda-
the right time to watch that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
This is also the right time to watch it. Just watch it twice a year. Fuck it.
Yeah.
For sure, yes.
And so I watched Hocus Pocus again, and it's been forever since I've seen it. But I love it because it's got some really great lines and really cool scenes. And every time that Sarah Jessica Parker goes, amok, 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 I just lose it. I lose it every single time. Yeah, amok, amok, amok. You just lose that because it's just so good.
It's a quotable line. We say it a lot.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, the show is dorky, it's quirky, it's silly, but I mean, it's just really good because the cast of the Three Witches is done great. The acting is really good, and it's not, like it says, when you watch it as an adult, you're like, oh, Sarah Jessica Parker's character's a
They're
whore.
all chewing scenery, but it's all
Yeah.
good fun. That's the good chewing.
I've never
scenery.
not seen it as an adult, so
I saw
Yeah.
it as when it first came out, but then watching it now, watching Sarah Jessica Parker's character is like, she's a hoa. I mean, she really, really, and I'm just like, wow, how did I not get, but as a kid, just like, oh, she
You're a
likes
kid.
guys.
You know, kid stuff.
Yeah,
It's part of being a kid.
yeah. But yeah, when she goes, amok, amok, I'm just like, fuck yes. I give it 0 space herpes just because, one, in nostalgia, and two, it's a great, solid Halloween show.
it is fun. It's very fun.
Um,
I never saw it until we started spending Halloween at my friend's house, and they watch it every year, and so you'd watch it with them and their kids. And this will be the first year in a while that we are not doing that because Gamehole Con starts on Halloween, basically.
That's a
So,
mistake.
yeah.
Well, and then I also, because I came home and watched The Nightmare Before Christmas, and of course Tim Burton, really creepy, really weird, really, whatever, and Jack
Yeah, but
Skellington.
this is where he's at his
Yes.
peak. This is where he's got it all focused in the right way.
Yes,
Perfect.
It's not a Batman Returns. It's a more
it's a Tim
this is-
Burton.
yeah. Tim Burton's doing it the right way, not just forcing his creepiness and weirdness on something that doesn't need it.
Yeah, and like I said, this movie is definitely, there's some pretty adult themes, kidnapping Santa Claus, great music.
Great music. The soundtrack is killer, and even the Nightmare Before Christmas Revisited is killer also.
Yeah, I mean, it's solid all the way around. Animation style, everything's really good. Lock, stock, and barrel. I mean, it's just, it's
good.
another great one. A great, good Halloween one. 0 space herpes. Can't go wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Danny Elfman is a music god.
I mean, yeah, Danny Elfman. Boingo Boingo was great,
Mhm.
underappreciated for the time, and then he goes into making soundtracks. Fuck, forget about it. So other things I want to talk about. One is a trailer, and the other one is a YouTube channel.
Okay.
The trailer is the second trailer for Picard.
I haven't seen it.
I wasn't sure. And I saw that trailer, and I was like, fuck, I'm getting that fucking CBS channel. That's going to be for a while because I'm going to have to watch Discovery and then watch Picard because fuck yes. I will say honestly, I'm not going to say anything other than Gonzo. You should watch it. We'll
Okay.
talk about it next week after you've watched it. because I don't want to spoil anything. But fuck yes, you haven't seen that trailer, go see that fucking trailer. If you were not sold on this series beforehand, because fucking Patrick Stewart.
I was sold on it. I just haven't
No,
seen
no.
the new one.
But you need to see the new
In
one.
general.
Yeah, it's great. We'll talk about it next week there. And then the YouTube channel I'll talk about is called The Modern Rogue. And they do videos based off their whole idea of giving you the skills you need to be a modern rogue. And there's 3 points to the pyramid of the modern rogue. There's the gentleman, the scoundrel, and the warrior, and they do stuff in all three. And they do a lot of funny stuff. It's some guys from Austin area. They are, I would say they're veterans of this sort of industry. They've been in a lot of podcasts. So that area is big on podcasts and stuff like that. And they're part of that greater Austin crew, the whole Real Deal / Spill.com crew / OneOfUs.net crew. They're part of that greater crew that's down there. Those guys all work together and all this stuff. But it has Jason Murphy, who has other podcasts and all, and then Brian Brushwood, who's actually, and he's part of, as he self-proclaimed, punk rock magic show. And they do all sorts of stuff, like, you know, how to make drinks properly, because gentlemen should know how to make drinks properly, how to order drinks properly. To Scoundrel, like we got the lock-picking lawyer to show us how to pick locks.
Oh,
I will say
awesome.
it's frighteningly scary how easy it is to pick padlocks.
I've watched quite a bit of the Lockpick Lawyer stuff, and he's insane.
Yeah, they bring him in. They bring him in for an episode recently. They do a lot of stuff like, and then they do the warrior thing where they'll make, this is how you defend yourself with impromptu weapons. This is how you make, your own blowgun, weapon, whatever, how to do these things. It has a wide variety of cool shit, and I love it. I support them on Patreon because they do cool stuff. They're always very humorous. They don't pull any punches on stuff like that. I think most people who like this podcast would like their YouTube channel. I think you should give it a shot. I particularly love their videos on alcohol because most of them they have a particular bartender, Trevor, on it, who is great. And he's enjoyable, just as personable as they are. It's that kind of YouTube channel I want to do well. They do a good job. They do cool stuff, and I like to see what they do. And I think most of the people who follow us would like it. It's the same sort of quirky guys that we are, guys and girls, sorry, that we are. And like I said, enjoy the fuck out of it.
I have one last one, but I do want to talk about something else coming up, and I had totally blocked my brain out of it because we were going to be talking about it, and I totally forgot it. This last weekend was the finale for Preacher. For anyone who doesn't know, Preacher is based off of a graphic novel by Ines.
It's a comic book.
Yeah, comic book. Yeah, and it is a very raunchy, very very adult TV series. TV series is about a guy that's a preacher that's actually pretty much a bad guy that gets the voice of God basically and can tell everybody what to do and when to do it and how to do it. He says something, the people have to do it. And so the series finale was this last few weeks ago. And I'm kind of upset that it went off the air because it was really, really good. But I got an ending, like Kathy and I were saying. We got an ending, so it's good. You can tell that they knew they were getting an ending, and so they were wrapping stuff up. But you could tell that they really didn't know what to do as an ending. Not going to spoil it because I know some people still haven't seen it. It was good. As an overall series, I give it 1.5, maybe 2 Space Harpies if you're not into it. But if you like the outrageous, the blunt, so on and so forth, you'll like it anyway. But I really like the characters. The characters are really good. There's nothing more cool than seeing Jesus and Hitler have a throwdown and beat each other up in WrestleMania. It was interesting to say the least. I really like the series. It kind of stinks that it's going off the air. Like I said, the ending felt a little rushed at the very end and kind of like, just dialed it in or whatever you want to call it. But it was okay.
Not as I phoned it in, but just sort of like, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, this is what we're going to do.
I guess technically phoned it in for a better series. Is that?
Yeah. But I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. Like I said, it's about 1.5 to 2 space herpes. Um, and I really hope the rest of the actors get something else to do and we get more TV shows that are like that. Because it was interesting and fun to watch. You didn't know what was going to happen.
I never watched it because I don't like Garth Ennis.
Yeah,
I respect the crap out of Garth Ennis. I will never badmouth him on a skill or anything like that. He knows what he's doing. I just don't like his stories because they're not the kind of stories I want to see.
Correct.
And I feel like that's important to note. Like, if you don't know, like, we had this talk. That's a good time for this talk, Gonzo. One of my buddies, Alex, saw The Joker. He said that he thought it was great. He said, I would probably say it was a very well-made movie, but I wouldn't like it. So I'm not going to go see it because, I mean, it's not the kind of movie I want to look at. It's not what I want, but I can respect the craftsmanship. Like, I am known, The Dark Knight is everyone's favorite Batman movie. I don't actually like it. I think it is very well made. I think it is not very Batman, and I don't like it, but I respect the crap out of it because I can see that it's a very well made movie. And if it was anything but a Batman movie, I would probably enjoy it more.
Well, let's go to that because that was a topic that we were talking about before the pre-ramble that we do our pre-ramble. And Joker, I have heard very mixed reviews, and I do want to see it, but I'm hesitant because, for a simple fact, I don't want to feel sympathy for the Joker at all. No. I don't ever want to feel sympathy for him.
He's supposed to be a piece of shit. And he's gotten really pretty far from where he is, where he's becoming pure sociopath when he's actually supposed to be this. I mean, Agent of Chaos, as he was portrayed in the Dark Knight movie, is what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to just do random things, and honestly, as good as that performance was, he was not Chaos in that movie. He was the epitome of planning.
Well, that's the reason why, I had a couple of friends go see it, and they really liked it and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can disassociate myself with that because I don't want to feel sympathy for the Joker, because to me, the Joker's not supposed to be that. He's supposed to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like why I don't like necessarily, like I said, The Dark Knight, is because you can take a series and put the person's name on it, but is it really appropriate for that person's name? You know, if you make a Captain America series and he's going around shooting everyone and doing all this stuff, is it really a Captain America series, or are you just cashing in on the name?
Correct.
And while I feel like everything I've heard says this is a great movie, and I would probably give it that sort of kudos if I watch it, I can know watching it that I'm not going to enjoy it, and it's going to make me feel uncomfortable. And it's not a time in my life I want to feel uncomfortable like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll probably wait till it comes out on, Blu-ray or something like that before I actually watch it. But I really don't want to feel sympathy for him.
No, because like we said, he was always a piece of shit. He was always a career criminal, whatever. Honestly, the fact that they made him the way he did in the Batman movie with Tim Burton's first one was weird, because originally I think the Joker was more interesting as a mystery. Where'd he come from? That doesn't fucking matter. He's a Joker now. Yeah. Go.
Yeah, and I liked it. I don't care about his background. I don't want to know his background. I don't want to know what turned him the way it is.
This goes into one of our other talks, Gonzo.
I just want him to be evil.
Yeah, I don't want to know. If you take away the past, you make it and make it fact rather than your own headcanon, you remove mystique and interest from certain characters.
Yeah.
It's like the Clone Wars was always this mystical thing. Like, oh, what were the Clone Wars? That sounds really awesome. You figure the clones are the bad guys. That sounds like the kind of thing it'd be. Clones are bad guys. You got to fight the clones.
Yeah.
And then you go watch the thing. You're like, oh no, the clones were the good guys.
Yeah.
and your father was already one of the best pilots I've ever seen in the universe. Oh shit, his father was a great pilot. We met him when he was like 8. In the pod race. The fuck?
Yeah.
Your headcanon is better than most things they can write on a page. The only exception I can think of is Rogue One, where getting the Death Star plans was way cooler than I ever thought it would have been.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one.
But it's the dangerous thing. You don't want to know, And some people are going to like it. And remember, this is the biggest thing, and this is my deep thought for the podcast. It's okay to not like something other people like. And you don't have to badmouth it. You can just know, like, I don't like it, or I'm not interested in that. We all don't have to be interested in the same things. That's what makes us all great, is we're all different. And knowing what you're going to potentially like and what you're going to potentially dislike is good going into it, so you're not wasting what limited time we have to do things. Like, am I going to go watch Joker knowing I'm probably not going to like it? Or will I go watch, fucking Angel Has Fallen, the fucking third movie in that trilogy that's not going to be a great movie, but it'll probably be a hell of a time.
Which brings up something I wanted to do, and I want to do I don't want to say minis and movies, but I want to do a movie special with you, because somebody brought up to me, and we were talking about it, the oh shit or surprise parts of movies, that the biggest ones of the century, the year, the blah, 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 whatever you want to call it.
One of those movies that I refuse to spoil.
Okay, but people were talking about it, that there was, certain things that, oh my gosh, this is the reason why this movie is so good is because of this oh shit moment. And, I was like, well, yeah, back when I was a kid, the oh shit moment was Vader was Luke's father. And how that became a huge...
Wait, what?
So here's the funny thing is, I will say that based on your basic premise of movies that are only great because of that, that doesn't count. Because that movie's, despite that, I would say The Sixth Sense is great because of that twist.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Without the twist, it's solid. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's a solid movie. But that twist takes it to the next fucking... Like Unbreakable. Unbreakable is great because of that twist.
But that's the reason...
Twist, it's mediocre.
That's something I want to bring up, that me and you get together and do a movie episode on that, because I think that would be really good. We researched our top oh shits of, movies. And like I said, I think I know which one that you won't spoil no matter what.
It's easy.
But I think that would be a really good episode that you and I could put together one afternoon and just talk about oh shit movies.
Let's say, Gonzo, I definitely suspect you know which one it is.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll talk about it off air. So don't talk about it. So other than that, guys, that is episode 96. That is not John. That's Kathy. For the people that aren't...
No, I'm Kathy.
I'm Kathy.
I'm John.
You sound more like Kathy than I do.
Oh, I know. Guys, thanks for listening. Have a good night. Please take care of each other.
I'm still John.
Xanderson's sober John.
I'm not sober John. That may be a little...
Sober John has left the building.